Evening, I'd like to open the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting this Thursday, August 6th at 7:31. We'll call the meeting to order. The roll call.
Mr. May,
Here.
Ms. Zielinski,
Here.
Ms. Pryor,
Here.
Mr. Ballard,
Here.
and Ms. Rude.
Here. I'd also like to point out that we will have Ms. Zielinski as a full voting member tonight in her position as alternate. And then we will have the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Ms. Pryor, would you like to read the ZBA responsibilities? I always like this to be read before the meeting so that everyone is aware of what our duties are, what we are able to do, what we can't do. We do have some power here to do things in a judicial sort of manner. We're quasi-judicial committee, but in many respects, our hands are tied by mandates by the state, et cetera. So.
This is for area variances. If you're here for an area variance, you can listen in. The zoning board has the authority to grant area variances from the area or dimensional requirements outlined in the town zoning code. In making its determination, the board shall take into consideration the benefit to the applicant if the variance is granted as weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood. In making such determination, the board also considers, number one, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood. Number two, whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance, whether the requested variance is substantial, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood, and lastly, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. The board, in granting of area variances, will grant the minimum variance that it deems necessary and adequate. There are a few use variances on our docket tonight, so if you're here for a use variance, this is for you. The zoning board has the authority to grant use variances authorizing a use of the land which otherwise would not be allowed. Applicants must show that applicable zoning regulations and restrictions have caused unnecessary hardship. In order to prove such unnecessary hardship, the applicant must demonstrate all four of these things. Under applicable zoning regulations, the applicant is deprived of all reasonable economic use or benefit from the property in question. Number two, the alleged hardship relating to the property in question is unique and does not apply to its substantial portion of the district or neighborhood. Number three, the requested use variances, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. And lastly, the alleged hardship has not been self-created.
Thank you, Ms. Pryor. So number 5, the first thing that we have going on tonight is a resolution from the Town of Boston Zoning Board of Appeals. It's resolution number 2026-001. Application of New York 2 LLC Buffalo Solar Project for area variances. Whereas the Town of Boston has received applications for zoning variances, a special use permit, and a site plan review from New York Boston 2 LLC, an entity associated with Delaware River Solar related to the development of a proposed 3.6 megawatt community solar energy facility known as the project at 7832 Feddick Road, the project site. And whereas the town board classified the project as a type 1 action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, declared itself lead agency, and following environmental review, adopted a negative declaration on November 6th of 2024. And whereas the town's regulations governing large-scale solar energy systems, codified as local law number 5 of 2019, the solar law, provide that the purpose of the solar law is to balance the potential impacts upon neighboring properties, protect environmental and agricultural resources, preserve the rural character of the town, while recognizing the importance of solar energy systems in generating electricity, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and supporting the development of renewable energy resources. And whereas in adopting the solar law, the town board expressly recognized that large-scale solar energy systems may have aesthetic impacts upon neighboring properties and therefore establish dimensional requirements, including setbacks, lot area limitations, screening, and other developmental standards intended to minimize those impacts while accommodating appropriate solar development. And whereas the project site is located within the town's residential agricultural zoning district in which large-scale solar energy systems are permitted by special use permit, subject to compliance with the dimensional requirements of the solar law or the granting of appropriate variances by the Zoning Board of Appeals. And whereas the solar law requires, amongst other things, a minimum setback of 500 feet from all property lines adjoining residentially zoned property and limits large-scale solar energy systems to a maximum lot area of 50 acres. And whereas on or about December 16, 2024, the applicant applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for area variances, reducing the required 500 property line setbacks to approximately 125 feet along portions of the southern, eastern, and western property lines and approximately 225 feet along a portion of the northern property line, and an area variance permitting a project encompassing approximately 73.8 acres, exceeding the maximum permitted lot area by approximately 23.8 acres, collectively the variance application. And whereas the ZBA conducted duly noticed public hearings on the variance application on March 6th of 2025 and May 1st of 2025, during which it received testimony from the applicant, consultants, neighboring property owners, interested agencies, and members of the public, together with written submissions and other documentary evidence. And whereas following the March 6, 2025 public hearing, the applicant supplemented the record with additional information, including responses to public comments, revised line of sight analysis, and noise information relating to the project. And whereas following the close of the public hearing, the ZBA adopted resolution number 2025-001 on June 5th, 2025, denying the requested lot area variance and property line setback variances. And whereas the applicant thereafter commenced a proceeding pursuant to Article 78 of the Civil Practice Law and Rules in the Supreme Court, Erie County, entitled New York Boston 2 LLC versus Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Boston, index number 811-463-2025, seeking to annul the ZBA's determination. And whereas by decision dated October 17th of 2025, and order and judgment entered November 7th, 2025, the Honorable Catherine Nugent Panapinto granted the petition in part, annulled the ZBA's prior determination, and remanded the variance application to the ZBA for reconsideration, solely under the three-pronged public utility variance standard set forth in matter of Consolidated Edison Company of New York versus Hoffman, 43 NY 2D 598, 1978, in matter of Free Point Solar LLC versus Town of Athens Zoning Board of Appeals, 234 AD 3D 127 3D Department 2024, without reference to the traditional balancing factors contained in the town law 267B3B. The court further directed that the ZBA determine that the intrusion and impacts associated with the requested variances are not minimal. The ZBA specifically identified those impacts not referenced or considered in the town board's seeker negative declaration. Whereas following remand, the ZBA reviewed the Supreme Court's decision and order the certified record previously filed with the court, the applicable provisions of the town code, the relevant case law, and the entire record developed before the board, 400 pages. I just inserted that part. And has reconsidered the variance application in accordance with the legal standard established by the Supreme Court. And whereas the findings supporting the ZBA's determination upon remand are set forth in the attached statement of filings, which is incorporated herein by references, though fully and set forth herein. Now, therefore, be it resolved that upon the reconsideration of the variance application in accordance with the decision and order of the Supreme Court, Erie County, and the public utility standard established in matter of Consolidated Edison Company of New York versus Hoffman, 43 NY 2D 598, 1978, and the matter of Free Point Solar LLC versus the Town of Athens Zoning Board of Appeals, 234 AD 3 127 3D Department 2024, the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the applicant has satisfied the first prong of the public utility variance standard by demonstrating that the proposed project constitutes a public necessity. However, the applicant has failed to satisfy the second and third prongs of the public utility variance standard for the reasons set forth in the attached statement of findings, which is incorporated herein by reference, and be it further resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the applicant has failed to demonstrate compelling reasons, economic or otherwise, that make the requested lot area variance more feasible than reasonable alternatives, and further finds that the applicant has failed to demonstrate that the intrusion and burden upon the local community resulting from the requested lot area variance are minimal or can be adequately mitigated. Accordingly, the applicant's request for the lot area variance is denied. And be it further resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the applicant has failed to demonstrate compelling reasons, economic or otherwise, making the requested property line setback variances more feasible than reasonable alternatives, and further finds that the applicant has failed to demonstrate that the intrusion and burden upon the local community resulting from the requested property line setback variances are minimal or capable of adequate mitigation. Accordingly, the applicant's request for the property line setback variances is denied. Be it further resolved that the statement of findings attached hereto is hereby adopted as the findings of fact and conclusions of the Zoning Board of Appeals and is incorporated into this resolution as though fully set forth herein. And be it further resolved that this resolution constitutes the final determination of the Zoning Board of Appeals upon remand from the Supreme Court, Erie County, pursuant to the decision and order entered November 7th of 2025. Be it further resolved that the clerk of the Zoning Board of Appeals is directed to file a copy of this resolution and the attached statement of findings in the office of the town clerk within 5 business days of its adoption, and to promptly provide a copy to the applicant and all parties entitled to notice under applicable law. The statement of findings are as follows. Legal standard. The Supreme Court has directed the ZBA to evaluate requested variances solely under the public utility variance standard established by the matter of Consolidated Edison Company of New York versus Hoffman, 43 NY 2D 598, 1978, as applied in the matter of Free Point Solar LLC versus the Town of Athens, Zoning Board of Appeals 234 AD 3D 127, 3rd Department, 2024. Accordingly, the ZBA has considered only the following 3 questions: whether the project constitutes a public necessity, whether compelling reasons, economic or otherwise, make it more feasible to seek the requested variance than reasonable alternatives, and whether the intrusion and burden upon the community resulting from the requested variance are minimal or can be adequately mitigated. In reconsidering the application, the ZBA has independently evaluated the evidence contained in the administrative record and has made its own findings under the Hoffman standard consistent with the Supreme Court's remand order. Maximum lot variance, 23.8 acres. Public necessity finding was yes. The ZBA finds that the applicant has satisfied the first prong of the public utility variance standard consistent with Free Point Solar and Delaware River Solar LLC versus the Town of Aurora Zoning Board of Appeals community solar facilities, such as the proposed project constitute a public necessity for purposes of applying the public utility variance standard. And just as an aside, for those that aren't aware, they get leniency in the zoning code if they are a public utility. B, compelling reasons, economic or otherwise, that make it more feasible to seek the requested variance than reasonable alternatives. The finding is no. The ZBA finds that the applicant failed to satisfy its burden of demonstrating compelling reasons, economic or otherwise, making the requested variances more feasible than reasonable alternatives. The applicant selected a parcel containing significant physical constraints, including wetlands, streams, a utility easement, and topographical limitations that substantially reduce the available buildable area. Those conditions were neither hidden nor unforeseen, but were known to the applicant before the project was designed. Rather than designing a project capable of complying with the town's dimensional requirements, the applicant seeks substantial variances to accommodate its preferred site plan. The applicant represented that it had considered alternate locations and further represented that an applicant's site selection analysis was attached as Exhibit B to its December 16, 2024 submission. However, Exhibit B did not contain a site selection analysis. Instead, it consisted primarily of legal authorities discussing the applicable variance standard and did not include any comparative evaluation of alternative parcels, interconnectional studies, hosting capacity analysis, engineering reports, or economic analysis demonstrating why the requested variances were necessary. During the public hearings, the ZBA questioned the applicant regarding the basins for selecting the subject property, the availability of alternative project configurations, and the feasibility of reducing the requested variances. In response, Molly Messenger, development manager for Delaware River Solar, testified that the project would interconnect through NYSEG's South Park substation in the Lancaster division, and that the applicant anticipated paying approximately $5,600 for the necessary system upgrades. She further testified that she was unable to identify the precise location of the substation and would need to provide that information at a later date. While the applicant asserted that alternative locations had been considered, it did not present a comparative site selection analysis, engineering studies, hosting capacity evaluations, interconnection analysis, or other objective evidence demonstrating why the requested variances at the subject property were more feasible than reasonable alternative locations or project configurations. And likewise, when asked whether the project could be redesigned by eliminating approximately 850 solar panels from the first section of the array, Ms. Messenger acknowledged that such a modification could be discussed with the owners, but was unable to state whether the applicant would pursue that alternative. The ZBA therefore finds that the applicant failed to produce competent evidence establishing compelling reasons, economic or otherwise, demonstrating that the requested variances were more feasible than reasonable alternatives as required under the second prong of the public utility variance standard. The applicant's subsequent written submissions likewise asserted that alternative locations, including Bethlehem Steel Brownfield and the Rice Road area, were not feasible because of transmission distance or substation capacity. However, those assertions were unsupported by any engineering studies, hosting capacity data, interconnection analysis, or other objective evidence that would permit the ZBA to independently evaluate those conclusions. As the applicant failed to identify reasonable alternative locations or provide competent evidence demonstrating why the requested variances were more feasible than reasonable alternatives, the ZBA finds that the applicant failed to satisfy the second prong of the public utility variance standard. This finding independently supports denial of the requested lot area variance. C, minimal intrusion or capable of adequate mitigation. The finding is no. The ZBA further finds that the applicant has failed to demonstrate that the intrusion and burden upon the community associated with the requested lot area variance are minimal or capable of adequate mitigation. The Supreme Court directed the ZBA to consider the town board's secret determination in evaluating the third prong of the public utility variance standard. The ZBA recognizes that the town board issued a secret negative declaration on November 6th of 2024. However, the record before the ZBA does not identify the specific impacts associated with requested variances that were evaluated by the town board in issuing that determination. Accordingly, while the board has considered the existence of the negative declaration, it has independently evaluated the evidence before it in determining whether the requested variances satisfy the third prong of the Hoffman standard. The board further finds that increasing the project footprint from the 50-acre maximum permitted by the solar law to approximately 73.8 acres substantially enlarges the physical extent of the proposed utility scale solar facility beyond that contemplated by the town's dimensional regulations. The additional acreage increases the visual presence of the project within the surrounding rural landscape, expands the area occupied by utility infrastructure, and increases the cumulative impact upon neighboring residential and agricultural properties. The applicant acknowledged during the public hearing that effective screening of the project could not be accomplished by landscaping or vegetative plantings located upon the project site itself. Instead, the applicant suggested that adequate screening would require landscaping to be installed upon the neighboring properties outside the project site. The ZBA finds that such off-site screening is beyond the applicant's ownership or control, cannot be required or guaranteed as a condition of approval, and therefore does not constitute a reliable or adequate mitigation measure for the impacts associated with the requested lot area variance. Indeed, the applicant's own acknowledgement demonstrates that the visual impacts associated with the expanded project footprint cannot be adequately mitigated on the project site. Based upon the evidence presented, including the applicant's acknowledgement regarding the inability to provide effective on-site screening, the ZBA finds that the applicant failed to establish that the intrusion and burden associated with the requested lot area variance would be minimal or capable of adequate mitigation. Accordingly, the ZBA finds that the applicant has failed to satisfy the third prong of the public utilities variance standard. 3, property line setback variances, public necessity, finding yes, for the reasons set forth above with respect to the lot area variance. The ZBA finds that the proposed project constitutes a public necessity under the public utility variance standard. B, compelling reasons, economic or otherwise, that make it more feasible to seek the requested variance and reasonable alternatives. The finding is no. The ZBA adopts and incorporates by reference its findings set forth above with respect to the second prong of the public utility variance standard for the reasons previously stated, including the applicant's failure to identify or meaningfully evaluate alternative locations, the absence of any competent site selection analysis, the failure to produce engineering or hosting capacity studies supporting its preferred site selection, and the applicant's failure to demonstrate why alternative project layouts or configurations would not reduce or eliminate the need for the requested relief. The ZBA finds that the applicant has failed to establish compelling reasons, economic or otherwise, demonstrating that the requested property line setback variants are more feasible than reasonable alternatives. Accordingly, the applicant has failed to satisfy the second prong of the public utility variance standard with respect to the requested property line setback variances. This finding independently supports denial of the requested property line setback variances. C, minimal intrusion or capable of adequate mitigation. Finding no. The ZBA finds that the applicant failed to satisfy its burden of demonstrating that the requested property line setback variances would result in only minimal intrusion or burden upon the surrounding community, or that such intrusion is capable of adequate mitigation. The town solar law requires a minimum setback of 500 feet between the large-scale solar energy systems and adjoining residentially zoned property. The applicant seeks reductions of that requirement to as little as approximately 125 feet, representing a reduction of approximately 75% of the required setback. The requested variances would therefore place the solar arrays, fencing, inverters, access roads, and associated utility infrastructure substantially closer to neighboring residential properties than contemplated by the town's solar law. The Supreme Court directed the ZBA to consider the town board's secret determination in evaluating the third prong of the public utility variance standard. The ZBA recognizes that the town board issued a seeker negative declaration. However, the applicant did not identify the specific impacts evaluated by the town board and did not demonstrate how the town board addressed the impacts associated with the requested property line setback variances. Accordingly, the applicant failed to establish that the concerns raised before the ZBA has been specifically evaluated or resolved through the seeker review process. The evidence presented during the public hearing affirmatively demonstrated that the requested setback reductions cannot be adequately mitigated. Specifically, the ZBA finds, number one, the applicant acknowledged that effective visual screening could not be accomplished through landscaping or vegetative plantings located upon the project site because of the existing topography and view sheds. Number two, rather than proposing effective on-site mitigation, the applicant suggested that landscaping would need to be installed upon neighboring properties. The ZBA finds that vegetation located on property not owned or controlled by the applicant cannot be required, maintained, or guaranteed as a condition of approval, and therefore does not constitute an adequate mitigation measure. Number three, the existing topography permits direct views of the proposed solar arrays from numerous neighboring residences, notwithstanding the proposed landscaping. Reducing the setbacks from 500 feet to as little as 125 feet substantially diminishes the buffer intentionally established by the town board when it adopted the solar law to protect neighboring residential properties from the impacts of utility scale solar facilities. Number 5, the reduced setbacks materially increase the visibility and prominence of the project from adjoining residential properties and public roadways and place construction activities, including grading, pile driving, and heavy equipment operation, substantially closer to the neighboring residences than would occur under a project complying with the solar law. Number 6, the Erie County Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board likewise expressed concerns regarding the fragmentation of agricultural lands, interference with agricultural operations, cumulative farmland conversion, and the loss of productive agricultural soils associated with the proposed development. Based upon the entire record, including the applicant's own knowledge that effective on-site screening could not be accomplished, the ZBA finds that the applicant failed to demonstrate that the intrusion resulting from the requested property line setback variances is minimal or capable of adequate mitigation. Accordingly, the ZBA finds that the applicant has failed to satisfy the third prong of the public utility variance standard. And I would put this into a motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. May,
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Ms. Zelinski,
Yes.
and Ms. Pryor,
Yes.
and Ms. Rude.
Yes. All right, let's work on our other cases tonight. Starting with petition number 658, Nick and Amber Chuba, 7300 Boston State Road. What is this?
This has been updated without the use variance. So this is the only thing we're doing.
All right. So we have already met with the Mr. Chuba here in a public hearing that we left open. So here we are still in the open public hearing for a use variance. Make a motion to close that public hearing for a use variance.
I'll second it.
Mr. May,
Yes.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Ms. Zelinski,
Yes.
Ms. Pryor,
As I understand it, there's new information that we seconds ago time to review. Unfortunately,
Same thing we've had.
it's a whole, well,
There was always an area variance on it. It's just that the use variance is gone. So from my understanding, the setback is still 10, just to keep it in line with the rest of your house, correct? That's the
Yeah.
point.
The current
Do your name and
structure is at 2, and we're requesting to be at 5
Right,
as opposed to 10. And we're limiting the use because we're
Right.
to the house, and we're eliminating the kitchen,
Right.
which eliminates the independent living style. It's just going to be an addition and a private living space for my mother, and no longer going to be an independent apartment or anything like that.
Right.
So,
so,
from my understanding, we're only requesting a setback for
Right.
property line.
Okay.
Which my neighbors have.
for the
said,
side yard
Yes.
of 10 feet.
yeah, we did get some information from Matthew C. Sikora. This was in our folder here.
Okay, I got it. All right, I will read this into the minutes. Neighbor letter of support dated 6/29 to the Zoning Board of Appeals. My name is Matthew Sikora. I'm the owner of the property located at 7302 Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York, 14075, adjacent to the property owned by Nicholas Chuba. I'm writing in support of the proposed construction of a new detached garage with an in-law apartment above it. I understand that the proposed structure will generally occupy the same location as the existing garage, and that this would allow the side setback to remain as close to the current structure with a maximum encroachment of approximately 2 feet from the existing property line setback. I have no objection to setback and fully support allowing the new structure to remain in substantially the same location as the existing garage. In my opinion, this minor setback does not negatively affect my property enjoyment of it. Based on my experience as a neighboring property owner, I do not believe the proposed project will have any adverse impact on neighborhood views, surrounding property values, drainage, or stormwater runoff. The existing garage has never created any concerns in these areas, and I do not expect the replacement structure to do so. I'm confident that the owners will complete the project responsibly, following all applicable building codes, permit requirements, engineering recommendations, and drainage standards to ensure the to be well maintained and the neighboring properties are not adversely affected. For these reasons, I fully support the requested variance, including the continuation of the existing setback of up to 2 feet from the property line, and respectfully ask the board to approve this application.
No, you've requested 5 feet. That's, and the allowance is a total of 10 feet, but you're requesting.
What is the building right now?
It's just a 20 by 20.
Oh, how far off the line is it right now? So it's actually going to be farther away than it
Further
is,
away than the property line.
than it is now.
But still not to code, right?
To go, yes. If I bring it forward to 10, it actually brings it into the driveway.
Ah.
It actually obstructs the view of the backyard for when my kids are staying. Because
Yeah.
I'm on Boston State Road, I don't want them running in the front.
Fair enough.
All right.
That's why. Okay. Great. That's fine.
All right. What's your pleasure, folks?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing
We
for
actually-
for the area variance.
We actually,
Is it-
yeah, all right.
Is that what we did?
We closed the public hearing already,
Oh, I'm sorry.
so we don't have to.
Okay.
We're looking for a motion
Oh, okay.
at this point.
Okay. All right. Well, then I guess I'd like to make a motion to approve petition setback petition or conditions to approval. Does it create an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood? No. Can the benefit sought by the applicant be achieved if the variance is not granted? No. Is the requested variance substantial? I don't believe so. Will the variance have an adverse effect on the physical impact of the environmental conditions of the neighborhood? No. Is the alleged difficulty self-created? Yes.
I'll second it.
Mr. May,
Yes.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Ms. Zelinski,
Yes.
Ms. Pryor.
Yes.
And Ms. Rude.
Yes. All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Great.
Welcome. Petition number 661, we left that public hearing open as well. Todd Gallagher, Foxhole Farm Winery, 8325 Cole Road, requesting a use variant per the Town of Boston Code 123-78A5 to allow a use as a tavern, eating and drinking establishment as in a C2 zoning and an area variance per Town of Boston Code 123-136B4 for size and height for 2 detached accessory buildings in violation of maximum square footage and height allowed per size. Hello, Mr. Gallagher.
Yeah.
We have not received any new information from you.
I don't have any new information, just what I provided to the board. I don't think the use variance obviously is the way to achieve what the SLA and Ag and Markets is telling me that I can do on that property and at that building currently. Changing it's pretty specific that I don't have to change it according to Ag and Markets and the SLA, from agricultural to commercial. That's all the information
Do you have someone here with you from the SLA?
do. I have, pardon me?
Someone here with you from the SLA?
I
That's,
have the dockets from the SLA law that can be reviewed.
Well, we haven't received anything to review. We have nothing new to look at all. So you're withdrawing your use variance? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to get it. There's no sense proceeding forward with it. I don't meet any of the 4 requirements.
Okay.
I feel like I was given guidance to do it, and it's just not the way that I have to go down it.
Okay.
According to the SLA, via conversations, they gave me the exact same information that I provided here the last month. And Ag Markets said that they'll do a 305A investigation. But that takes 12 to 18 months. And that brings New York State into the town of Boston to do a site investigation.
Okay.
Multiple letters to you.
Okay.
Zoning, planning, code, supervisor. I don't think we need to go down that route.
I
Other
think
towns,
Okay.
Based
So
on the
you're
inf-
withdrawing,
I believe so.
all
yes.
of
I
that
don't-
does not affect, doesn't.
based on the
limit
information we
us.
given to us, we have differing opinions. So it does sound like that's your best bet, whether
I
New York,
agree.
okay,
Yeah.
great, we're good. then.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would move to close the public hearing.
Second,
Mr. May,
Yes.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Ms. Zelinski,
Yes.
Ms. Pryor, and
yes.
Ms. Rude.
Yes. Okay. So you're going to proceed in a different direction then.
Yes, I guess
Understand.
so.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Okay.
Well,
Thanks for letting us
know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. Petition number 662, Daniel Sheehan, 28 Euclid, Hamburg, requests 2 area variances from code 123-26, minimum lot size, and 123-28, required rear yard to erect a single-family dwelling at 7756 Deanna Drive, Boston.
But we didn't get a seeker, did we, for this?
Huh?
We didn't get a seeker for this.
No,
Okay.
I was going to read the stuff though.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. I was just double checking.
So I make a motion to open this public hearing.
I second it.
Mr. May,
Yes.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Ms. Zelinski,
Yes.
Ms. Pryor,
Yes.
and Ms. Rude.
Yes. This is a letter from Dan Sheehan. Please find attached an amended letter to request an area variance for a new home construction on Deanna Drive. Also attached are an updated sketch, not to scale, showing the proposed structure on the lot, indicating the setback distances, and a preliminary set of plans showing actual dimensions of the building. We've updated the variance request to include the rear yard depth. Code requires 30 feet yard depth, and we are requesting a variance to 21 feet. In addition, we are requesting a variance to the depth of yard requirement. Code requires 175 feet, and we are requesting a variance to 125 feet. Please let me know if I need to make any adjustments to the documentation that has been provided. And also from Daniel and Christy Sheehan, dear members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, we respectfully request an area variance to the Town of Boston Code for construction of a new home on vacant land on Deanna Drive, SBL 226.02-4-13.12. Specifically, we request variance approval for the following: a minimum lot depth, 123-261. Code requires 175 feet. We request 125 feet. This is consistent with our neighbors at 6405 and 6417 Deanna Drive, as their lots both have depths of 125 feet. Also, the minimum rear yard, 123-28C, code requires 30 feet. We request 21. If we were to shift the front of the building to Boston State Road, the setback requirement would be reduced to 10 feet to the northern lot line. 21 feet would be less intrusive to our neighbor at 7740 Boston State Road than 10 feet. We plan to work closely with our contractor, Sales Associates of Western New York LLC, and their subcontractors to ensure that the stormwater discharge from the structure is channeled to the drainage ditch to the north of the property or available storm sewer along Deanna Drive using conductor pipes. We have worked very hard with our contractor to design a single-story floor plan for our lifestyle. We are not far from retirement age, and the ranch layout will be ideal for us as we get older. Additionally, we've designed our house with the third bedroom extending to the north to create a barrier to our back porch from the noise and activity on Boston State Road. Please see the attached documents for the location of the structure on the property, including setback distances. And so we don't have a letter from the code enforcement officer.
This one?
Thanks. And from Robert Reed, Code Enforcement Officer, regarding area variances for new single-family residents, respectable Chairman Person Rude and conscientious board members, petitioner wishes to obtain 2 variances for a new single-family residence at SBL number 226.00-4-13.12 on Boston State Road, Indiana Drive, Boston, New York, from local zoning requirements. Variances sought are as follows. Per Article 8, R2, single-family residence district 123-26 minimum lot size, D minimum lot size, 1 residence 175 feet, and Article 8, R2, single family residence district 123-28 required yards, rear yard. No rear yard shall have a depth less than 30 feet or a distance equal to the height of the principal building, whichever is greater. Due to a lot depth decrease, required front yard and depth of house as required decrease of the depth of the rear yard from 30 to 21 feet is requested. Area variance 1 required is 175 feet, requested is 125 feet. The variance would be for 50 feet. Area variance number 2 required is 30 feet, requested is 21 feet. Variance is 9 feet. Respectfully, Robert Reed. We do not have anything from our planning consultant, unfortunately, who always gives us her recommendations as well. I don't know why we didn't receive anything, but we have nothing in our packet. What would you like to add?
I think you've read all the points that I would have mentioned. I guess the main argument would be if we did orient the
Put the
house
house,
towards
yeah.
Boston State Road, all of a sudden it's 10 feet instead of 20, or instead of
Right.
30. So
Right.
and then to maintain a similar square footage, we'd have to actually go 2 stories. So that becomes a much
Yeah.
more imposing structure. for the
And
neighborhood.
you're looking for a ranch, yeah.
Ideally, we're getting older.
aren't we all?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know in our work session too, we were talking about finding the stakes. We couldn't find them.
It's I know the email that Mike Holder had sent sort of indicated that we did box. They're in there. It's a little bit overgrown right now.
Yeah.
But there are 4 stakes that do box the extent of what would it be. But the house is actually a little narrower. It's just that 1 bedroom that kicks out
Yeah.
just to that 21-foot level. So that's all I would say. And then this way, if we keep the house oriented towards Deanna Drive, we'll be consistent with our neighbors down the road.
Right.
With I think they're actually just a little bit closer than 50 feet to the setback.
Yeah.
So be consistent that way.
Yeah.
Then we can keep it 1 story.
Well, I know I would like to see exactly where it would be oriented, to be honest, and I could only find 2 of the stakes. Would it be possible to clear it a little to find the stakes for us?
Sure, we could. The way that they are set up, there's 2 orange stakes close to the road.
Yes, the wooden ones, right?
Yep, and
Yes.
those indicate. No, actually, there should be 2 orange plow stakes.
Oh,
The fiberglass ones.
Yep, and if you stand and you look at those plow stakes and look back along towards the north side of the lot, there are 2 stakes indicating sort of the outside of that box. And then if you go up towards Boston State Road, there's another orange stake, and then again, there's one 50 feet in, and then there's one that would be 21 feet back from.
okay. Okay.
So there are stakes there. They're It's overgrown.
I was crawling around there 20 minutes. The weeds were over my head. I found two.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I went back twice because I was there a couple of weeks ago when we first got the information. I was trying to get everything done because I've got a lot of other things going on right now. So I tried to get it, all figured out. And then I talked to the code enforcement officer and he's like, no, the stakes are in now. So I went back and I found two, but not four. So, I mean, even just something just to clear out where that is somehow and maybe put a flag at the top of the stake or something, because that all blends in. They're like as big as my finger and it all kind of blends in. And unless you are right on top of it with the, spray paint, they're hard to find.
Well, if you need to be out there again, I'd be happy to meet you and show you. So,
Okay,
yeah.
that would be great. Okay.
Have you spoken to any of your neighbors or potential neighbors
To the north, yes.
to the north?
Yeah, concerns about a tree close to a power line.
Okay.
So I did mention that this was coming. Certainly invited him to contact me if he had any issues, but he didn't mention anything.
It sounds like we might be kind of leaving this open till next month so we can get out there and take a look
Yeah.
around a little bit more. It always helps when you speak with your neighbors and maybe get some letters of support. That's always very helpful to, preserve the character and nature of the neighborhood. That makes sense.
And we need to get something from our planning consultant as well.
Yes.
So unfortunately, we have to leave it open, but we'll be back in September, first Thursday,
Oh my gosh.
same bat time, same bat station.
Fair enough.
Maybe if
All
we
right,
can just have it so it's more visible too, even if we can clear a little bit, even if we can just
I understand.
get some of the weeds down or something, because that helps for an outline to get a better visual
Yeah.
of it, to see who's really
Like if you
impacted.
could weed whack from stake to stake, just in that square, that rectangle, then we'd be able to find it easily, I think, And then
We
you
have
wouldn't
a,
have to be running down because we can't come as a group.
It's going to be a
So,
little more industrial version of a weed whacker to get the
Yeah.
that stuff done. We tried it with just a gas powered one and it wasn't making any.
Yeah.
dent. So-
you know what? I got one of those ones that have blade at the end and I just swing it. Honestly, they work like a charm and they're,
Yeah. Suppose
really
I can
do.
mention
Old
it sooner and
side.
We can get there. So.
yeah.
Like stakes with like a little flag at the top, something for us to visually. It's easy for you to see because you've been to the property many times.
Yeah.
You like, but
Well,
we're going with fresh eyes. So it's like,
Yeah.
where's Waldo?
All right. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you in a month.
All right. Petition number, where are we here? 663, Kenneth Zidell, 142 Central Avenue, Lancaster, requests an area variance for SBL 258.00-1-54 on Brown Hill Road, Boston. To build a single family, I think this is what it should be. It's like duplicated here. Okay. Single family dwelling in violation of Town of Boston Code 123-50, maximum height of dwelling and number of stories. All right.
Bring them both. This is the 3 inches,
And
right?
Mr. Zealot, there he is, ready to rock. All right. I make a motion to open this public hearing.
Yes, I'm
Second.
sorry. That's right. I'll make a second. I'll second
Okay.
it.
Thank you. Mr. May,
Yes.
Ms. Zelinski,
Yes.
Ms. Rude, I'm sorry, Ms. Pryor
Yes.
and Mr. Ballard
Yes.
and Ms. Rude.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. So from Mr. Zidell, we have, to whom it may concern, I'd like to formally request a zoning variance for the house I plan to build. Permit application in progress due to a planned walkout basement. This A-frame house will be 35 feet and 3 inches above grade on one side, therefore in conflict with town ordinance of the 35-foot limit, as well as 3 stories exceeding, actually it should be the 2-story limit, I think.
I'm not sure how the stories work.
The property in question is SBL 258.00-1-54 located on Brown Hill Road. Please let us know what the next steps are as we look forward to building and moving to the town of Boston from Lancaster. And from Mr. Bowman, okay. So I'll read his after.
Mhm.
It threw me for a loop because I saw code enforcement on it. All right. From the code enforcement officer, Robert Reed here in Boston. Mr. Zdell, your building permit for a new single family residence at SBL number 258.00-1-54 on Brown Hill Road, Boston, New York is denied for the following items not in compliance with local zoning per Article 11 RA Residential Agricultural District 123-50 maximum height of buildings. A, dwellings 2.5 stories not to exceed 35 feet. Due to the design as an A-frame with a walkout basement, the number of stories will be 3 and the height will be 35 feet 3 inches. As such, the building will also be fully sprinklered as required by the 2025 New York State Residential Code. You may apply for a variance for the area and height of the building. Please ensure all required paperwork is in and completed by July 8th to our office. Then we have a letter from his neighbor, future neighbor, Craig Bowman. Dear members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, my name is Craig Bowman. I reside at 6947 Brown Hill Road, Boston, New York, 14025. I'm writing in support of Mr. Kenneth Zdell's request for a height variance for the construction of a single occupancy home on SBL 258.00-1-54, dimensions 290 foot, 1 foot, 0.26 times 0. I am a neighboring property owner and my property shares a border with Mr. Zdell's property. Because of this, I have a direct interest in the proposed construction and its potential impact on the surrounding area. My understanding is that Mr. Zdell is requesting a very minor height variance from the permitted 35 feet to 35 feet and 3 inches. This is only a 3-inch difference, which appears to be minimal and reasonable for the proposed residential construction. I do not believe this minor variance will create an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood, negatively impact nearby properties, or create any meaningful adverse effect on the surrounding area. A single occupancy home is consistent with residential use, and the requested height difference is so small that it should not substantially alter the appearance or use of the property. For these reasons, I respectfully support Mr. Kenneth Zdell's request for the height variance and ask the Zoning Board of Appeals to approve the application. Okay, so we're on a safari looking for stakes.
There was one in there, but it got squished by a tree that came down. So
Yeah.
Oh.
we are clearing the area though with all the, like, I don't know if you went out there this week, but we took down probably 20 trees in preparations. So,
Okay, yeah, I did. I went past there on Tuesday. Okay. And again, we don't have anything from our planning consultant. So I know that we really didn't get a chance to take a look at the site because we didn't know. The only way that we could figure out where it possibly sort of could be was from this letter from your neighbor because there was an actual address on it. So I guess it would be good to have something at the end of the street with a number. Do you have a number yet? You don't.
Last name, just something that's when we're
Something
driving by.
identifying
A little
the
stake with a
spot.
name on it, your name on it, last name on there, something like that.
Could you do
there
that?
is a driveway there, but it's tends to get overgrown.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a posted sign?
Say again?
Is there a posted sign at the end of it? An
There
orange
used to be,
posted?
but I took it down.
Okay. I saw that, but I didn't pull in because
Right,
it was
there was a
posted.
cable across the driveway, but I
Yeah.
took that down.
Yeah. Okay. All right. If we can figure out where it is, then we can take a look at the site, and then we'll have the planning consultants' suggestions also by next meeting. And I'm sorry to have to leave it open until September. Are you in a hurry?
Not anymore.
Can we get a agreed upon, are you last name? Is that what you're going to put out at the end of the,
Whatever you need.
I mean, it could just be something we all agree upon. It could be like a big
You can
Cone.
Put a
Or
traffic
something
cone
there.
there.
traffic
Just so we
cone,
don't
something
leave
that we
names
all
out there.
agree upon, that we know,
Yeah.
okay, we talked about it, this is where it is.
Sure.
So-
At where the house will be or where the
At the road.
driveway is?
At the road.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
so we know we're going
Indicating
on the
the-
right property.
Yeah.
And then we want the location of the house also to
You
be
could
staked
stake
off,
that out a
if that's
little bit.
possible.
I can make
The
that.
proposed site.
Yeah.
Proposed site, yeah, that would be great, just so we get an idea of what we're looking at.
Okay. All right. Continue clearing your trees.
Yeah, because that helps us see what neighbor is affected and, okay, if it's
Yeah.
there, is it? And then that way we know if that person doesn't have a problem with it, their weight is pulled heavier than somebody that is nowhere near it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right.
Yep.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
I'm sorry to delay it. I hate delaying it.
Yeah.
Let me just throw this.
I know.
It's all right.
All right. And our final petition number 664, the Boston Free Library, 9475 Boston State Road, Boston, requests an area variance from Town of Boston Code 123-136B4, maximum area of accessory structures. I'd like to open this public hearing or make a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second.
Mr. May,
Yes.
Miss Zielinski,
Yes.
Miss Pryor,
Yes.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
and Miss Rude.
Yes. We have a couple of letters here. Hi, Lydia. I'm a good reader, ain't I? You want me to come to story hour?
I don't know how long you'll have the kids' attention.
I know, right? I
That was
try to
brutal.
put flexion in
You
it.
did. You did a good job. It was.
Oh,
fun, though.
my goodness.
That was a lot.
All right, and here's one from Lydia. Respectable chairperson, rude and conscientious board members. Oh, I lie, and that one is the wrong one. Dear Zoning Board of Appeals, the Boston Free Library recently received a grant from the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation for a project entitled Connecting the Community to Nature, a native plant garden and outdoor educational space at the Boston Free Library. The project involves the installation of a small greenhouse as integral parts of the library's educational garden design. The garden will provide interactive and hands-on experiences for the community, emphasizing the importance of native plants, pollinator-friendly gardening techniques, and responsible environmental stewardship. A community greenhouse will provide space to start and raise seedlings. This space will allow community members of all ages to gain hands-on experience planting and tending the garden, learning new skills, and creating a greater awareness of the ecological impact of landscaping. The greenhouse will require a variance due to the restrictions on square footage allowance granted for auxiliary buildings. The auxiliary buildings currently on the property of the Boston Free Library include 20 by 42 foot pavilion used for community programs, an 8 by 10 shed that stores the library's lawnmower and maintenance equipment, and an 8 by 8 shed that stores the outdoor program furniture. The Boston Free Library operates within a very limited square footage building and needs this additional space in auxiliary buildings to facilitate programming, building maintenance, and community outreach services. On behalf of the Boston Free Library Association, I wish to request your consideration for granting the variance for the installation of the greenhouse for community use. It is our sincere hope that the variance will be granted given the community nature of this building. We wish to make this project a true asset to the town and inspire our community to integrate responsible environmental stewardship in their own backyards. Thank you for your consideration and for your continued support. Sincerely, Lydia Herring, Director. So from Mr. Reed, Ms. Herring, your building permit for a greenhouse structure at 9475 Boston State Road, Boston, New York is denied for the following item not in compliance with local zoning per Article 8, R2, Single Family Residence District, 123-136B4, limitations on obstruction and required open space. Due to size of the lot being less than 1 acre, total allowed area is limited to 728 square feet. There are two pre-existing sheds of 80 and 64 square feet and a pavilion added 2 years ago that exceeded the total area allowed. Now a greenhouse is planned to be added, size 96 square feet, which bring the total to 1,080 square feet. You may apply for a variance for the area and height of the building. Please ensure all required paperwork is completed. And then the petitioner wishes to obtain an area variance for a cumulative size of accessory structures at 9475 Boston State Road, Boston, New York, from local zoning requirements. The variances sought are as follows. Per Article 8, R2, Single Family Residence District, 123-136B4, limitations on obstruction and required open space due to the lot size being less than 1 acre. That total is limited to 728 square feet. This variance will bring the accessory structure total into compliance. Area variance allowed 728 square feet, requested is 1,080 square feet. The variance would be for 352 square feet. Robert Reed. All right. So this is very exciting.
We think so.
I mean, another
I tried to make it
Yes.
Yes. I just wanted.
Right?
Yes.
Well,
Rest
they
of
were all,
tape and everything.
they were all in kind of a pile, I think, when I got there, but luckily, because he was mowing the lawn,
Oh,
I
probably,
didn't
yes.
realize, he
Oh,
goes, he
yeah.
tries to do it because you're closed on Wednesday.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
And I swung in there but he pointed everything
all.
out. It was
Yes, yes.
very helpful.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that was good job.
Mhm.
Thank you.
No safari needed. All right. We have everything necessary from you. We don't have anything from our planning consultant, which frustrates me to no end, believe me.
Our only concern is that because it is a grant-funded project, we have a deadline with which to use the funds.
What is your deadline?
It has to be completed at the end of the year.
Okay,
And then also, of course, we have weather to deal with as well.
right. If we left this open until the first Thursday in September, would that really screw things up for you?
It would make it a little bit more difficult for us for sure. I don't know what the lead time is on ordering the greenhouse to get
Yeah.
delivered. So I just am a little concerned about that.
I mean, I don't foresee any issues, but you know what I'm gonna do?
Call her, text her.
I'm gonna see if I can call
Do it.
Sarah. I just hate holding people up.
This is one of those, it's a prefab one, right? It's all made and everything.
And the other two applicants who we didn't have anything for have to stake their properties, so they would have been delayed anyway.
Right.
I don't want it to look like I'm giving you special preferential treatment in any such way, but, and I don't even know if she is around, so. And maybe she left it here and it's lost in space or something. I don't know, because usually. Hey, Sarah, how are you? Good. Hey, I'm like in a public hearing at the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. We did not get any recommendations from you on any of the petitions. Okay. Okay. Well, the library wants to put up a little greenhouse. And I don't know if that would, need anything. Okay. It's type 2. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. It was easy. Yeah. The other two applicants, they had to stake their properties. So, I'm not showing preferential treatment. They would have had to come back next month anyway, but they're on a time frame with this grant. So, okay. All right. Excellent. Gotcha. And who would that be? Okay. All right. Thank you, Sarah. All right. All right. Bye. Okay. Talked to the planning consultant. She said that would definitely be a type 2. So it requires nothing else
Okay.
from us or you.
Okay.
Okay. Under seeker. So with that in mind,
You want to close the public
I
hearing?
would make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. May,
Yes.
Ms. Zielinski,
Yes.
Ms. Pryor,
Yes,
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
and Ms. Root.
Yes.
I'd like to, you want to do this one? I'd like to make a motion then to approve petition 664 for the Boston Free Library, Conditions to approval, does it create an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood? No. Can the benefits sought by the applicant be achieved if the variance is not granted? No. Is the requested variance substantial? No. Will the variance have an adverse effect on the physical impact or environmental condition of the neighborhood? No. Is the alleged difficulty self-created? No, I don't think so. No.
I'd second that.
Mr. May,
Yes.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Ms. Zelinski,
Yes.
Ms. Pryor,
Yes.
and Ms. Rude.
Yes. All right.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We're very excited about this project.
We're
We are
excited
too.
to see
That's
it.
great.
Be a great addition,
Yeah.
We hope so, yes.
for sure. All right. Anything else to bring before the board? Nope. Anything up? Nope. Okay. I'll remind everyone to make sure that they get their trainings in. We're already approaching September. Okay, trainings, mandatory trainings, get them in.
Yes.
All right.
Ms. Rude, were the meetings, the minutes from last month, were they good? Were they okay?
Did we get the?
Yeah, we don't vote on the minutes. We
Okay.
don't have to vote on the minutes.
Okay, okay. All right,
Okay.
just checking.
Yeah, and actually, it really doesn't need to be on your agenda.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Make a motion to close the meeting.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Ballard,
Yes.
Mr. May,
Yes.
Ms. Zelinski,
Yes.
Ms. Pryor,
Yes.
and Ms. Rude.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't get minutes from last week. Margaret, did you email us minutes from last? You did?
They were email.
I think, yeah, I did.
Now, I have a question for you. Mr. Gallagher
Hey,
withdrew his use permit.
Yeah.
we need to see.
What about his area variance? He still needs that.
She has to, the board clerk can sign it. and then-
He still needs the area variance for his buildings that are almost 3 times the size he was allowed.
What are we talking about?
Gallagher.
Gallagher.
He
What-
withdrew his use permit, but he didn't withdraw his area variance permit. I didn't hear that said. So the hearing was closed on that, but
Yes.
he never withdrew the area variance.